I'm Nick Grossmann, and you're watching Nasty Knuckles.
You're listening to Nasty Knuckles, the Hockey Outlaws podcast, with your hosts, Derek Nasty Settlemyre and former Philadelphia Flyer enforcer Riley Tocchet, as they go behind the scenes with your favorite NHL players. Time to face off.
All right, welcome back. What's happening, Nasty?
What's up, Rick Aurelia? Just over at TPH there today, doing some coaching and learning and yoga.
Yep. Yeah, did a little video today. Actually, did a little drumming, some rhythmic mindfulness, and
Well, I
just
told you, I saw a video of you drumming yesterday. It was quite impressive and looked like you had an orchestra behind you with everything in that room.
a little gong action.
It was
Other
everything.
drums. Oh
I
yeah.
think I saw everything. I need to give you a couple guitars just to set in there.
Well, send them over.
Yeah, I
Hang 'em
will.
up on the wall.
I'll bring them over. I don't know if I could play guitar to that, though, to what
Oh,
you
yeah.
were doing.
Maybe not the handpan, but we can get the djembe out. We could
That's true.
lay down some backbeats for you.
That's definitely
Speaking
true,
of that,
brother.
we gotta do that. We gotta do that, Nas, one of these days. We just gotta jam it out and maybe
There
throw
might-
some out on the old pod. Who knows?
You never
maybe
know.
not.
I think if we're gonna do that, then I might have to eat a little bit of mush
Oh
just
yeah.
before,
Yeah.
just get one with the
Close to
earth.
it?
Just,
yeah,
just
one
one
with
with
the
the earth.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well,
Aw,
we can
for
arrange
sure.
that.
Oh yeah, I figured we could.
Yeah.
Could, man. Ooh, it's been a tough 2 weeks in Flyers land. Obviously, Captain Obvious here. Since we were last together, they've gone 1-5-2, and you would think with all the fans and media that the world was ending. It's definitely not been pretty, but we've seen this before. Every team kind of goes through it. This has been tough, tough to watch. Obviously, you feel bad for the players because now you get to the point where you're squeezing the stick. You're not relaxing and just playing the game the way they had been playing. But yeah, 1-5-2 since we were last together. So it's been a tough couple weeks in Flyers land.
It has been. I didn't expect this slide to go as far as it's gone. I thought in 1, 2, 3 maybe, and they stopped the bleeding. But for whatever reason, they just haven't been able to stop the bleeding. And last night's game was another. Just kind of goes in line with finding ways to lose games. They had the game fully in control, score the first shift of the game. 4-3 hockey game, empty net. All you got to do is put the thing away. But as we know, when it rains, it pours. And they just got to find a way to get through this funk. Again, like I said, I didn't think that they had it in them to lose, this many games. Like I say that meaning like there's just a brand of hockey they were playing. They were so tight knit. They were finding ways to win games like good teams do. I just didn't think the slide would have extended this long here, but every team goes through it. Like you said, it's just part of the season, ups and downs. They haven't really had too much of a down at all in the season.
Right.
And this is it. So still early enough in the season, they could weather the storm and then get back on track and, have a solid push, the rest of the way here. But I don't think there's anything to overly panic about. Yes, they've slid down the rankings, obviously the standings. But you string together 2 or 3 wins and you're right back where you were. So
yeah, exactly. And that's a great point. It's so tight in the Eastern Conference. Having this really bad run right now, hopefully it's behind them. You have a tough game tomorrow night in Colorado. Obviously that's a tough one, but just looking back since we were last together, you lose at home in overtime. Scott Lawton comes back, buries one late in the game. They end up losing, overtime loss, but then it got a little ugly. You drop both games to Tampa at home, 7-2 and 5-1. Then you go to Buffalo, which one of the hottest teams, because way to go, Riggs. Ever since you called Lindy, like things started going better for them, obviously, but they're still playing really well. Buffalo, they're actually fun to watch, but you go in there, lose 5-2, go to Pitt, lose 6-3, and you're like, oh boy, come home, big game. Rangers are struggling, just terrible start. Lose that game 6-3. Go to Vegas, win a game no one thought you were going to win. 2-1.
Right.
You found a way to put it together, which is what you have to do. You just got to play a simple road game, and some people don't understand what that means, but that you do, being a player, a former player, former coach, and I do because I heard it for 26
times.
years. Yeah, exactly, 1,000 times, and they did that. That was a huge win. Looks like they've got another win last night, and I feel terrible for Garnett. Like, no one in the building feels worse than he does, but you just got to throw that puck in the net once you get to that blue line, I think, and 3 more casual strides. And I hate saying casual, but it kind of was. And it gets the stick lifted. You know what happens after that? Turn around, bad bounce, boom, and everyone's probably going to try to blame Sam Urson, which I don't know how you could blame him for last night. Just as you mentioned before, a ton of horrible plays with the puck, which at this point, when you're struggling this bad, our guest coming up kind of brings it up too. What do you do well? Just get the puck off the glass and get it out of the zone. There's sometimes where you got to take an icing. You may have to take a penalty sometimes, but anyway, it's just not pretty right now. That would have been a huge 2 points. Luckily, they did get a point. You never know what happens tomorrow in Colorado, but it's just, to your point, it's just not been pretty lately.
Yeah, and then on the other side of it, Utah, like you have to look at both sides of this. Like Utah was the opposite, right? They were finding ways to win games, but like you look at the small details. I'll end up showing the guys here at the academy the clips from last night's game, but like Utah's desperation and urgency to defend and do the little things right was so apparent. Just like the back check on Hathaway, like more times than not. That's an easy empty netter, right? That never happens.
Yes.
That split second, they get under the stick, they break that play up. Not moments later, like 2 moments later, Flyers have the puck again, opportunity to shoot the puck in an empty net. They get a stick on it, blow up that opportunity. And the next thing you know, pucks are at the blue line, I think between Konecny and Coots. They can't get the puck deep. Puck pops out through the neutral zone. Then Sanny's, taking this one-on-one type situation. That puck bobbles. And the next thing you know, it's Keller around Sanheim taking that puck to the net. But it's just like, it's like one little thing after the other, but you got to give credit where credit is due. And Utah in this case land up just like making these things happen by just pure effort, being resilient, being hard to play against, that attitude we always talk about. So it goes both ways, like as Grossy says when we on the pod, it goes one way when you're winning, and it seems like it goes the opposite when you're losing. You're just finding ways to lose games, and Flyers just got to break free of the shackles here and find a way to. In Colorado would be the best bet to bounce back, in my opinion.
That'd be great. That'd be great. And to your point, Riggs and Grossy's, when you're snowballing the wrong way, you find ways to lose. Utah's 8-1-1 in their last 10. They're finding ways to win right now.
Right.
So it sucks because you still, like I said, you still get the point, but everyone and their brothers, looking at this as a loss, which it is, when you should have won the game, right? You should have won the game. But like I said, hey, like hopefully they can get out of this. I don't know if it's going to happen in Colorado, but you never know. Any given Sunday, right? Any given Sunday.
Right.
So hopefully they can do that. And at the end of the day, what are we, 3 points out of a wild card spot? That could change in 2 games, as it's happened all year. Like last time we were together, we were 3rd in the Metro. That's a major slide that we just took, 1-5-2 that the Flyers just have been on. But you win 2 to 3 in a row, and you're back. And I know it's Philadelphia. I know how passionate our fans are. That's why we love it here. But you're getting fire talking. Like, are you kidding me? Like, are you kidding me? Fire talking. Yeah. They're trying to take away the create. I saw someone, it might have been one of our posts, they're trying to take away Denver Barkey's creativity. No, they're not. What are you talking about? Like, I know it's Philly. I know that's what we get, and I love it. I love the fans; they're the best in the world. But it just makes me laugh reading some of the comments, and I know some of it's put out there just to make you get pissed off at a comment. But they're ruining Matvei Michkov. They're actually helping Matvei Michkov in his game in the long run here. Like, he needs to be more responsible defensively. We've talked about that. They're trying to teach him how to play both sides of the puck because it's important. And the Flyers aren't where they are in the standings, and I know we're outside looking in right now, but we wouldn't even be near there if they just said, "Oh, just go do whatever you want to do." Same with Zegras as well. He's bought in. He's bought in. So I know it is what it is. Is people are going to have their comments, and they might say, I'm wrong. It's only my opinion. I'm not saying I'm right, but we see Talk working with Matvei a lot at practices and post practices. Baller's always there as well. And they're not trying to hamstring the guy. They're trying to help him so he can play more, be more creative on the ice, and do the things that he's good at.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's a classic example of just the growing pains of some young players that just need maybe a little bit more time, that aren't quite there yet. I understand the frustration from the fans' perspective. They have this high level talent that they want to see play more and do more, but there's a fine line of giving this guy, I mean, anybody in that position, too much ice time that they haven't earned. And again, that the trust factor is not there. And I think that's the biggest thing. Like, Talk's not teaching Matvei anything offensively he don't already know for the most part, right? Yeah, there's obviously some ways of thinking and scenarios and stuff like that. It's the other side of the game. Like, if you watch these games, like there's a lack of I would say effort, but a lack of ownership on that side of the game. Like, you have to buy into that if you want to play more minutes. It doesn't matter who you are, unless you're so highly offensive that you're scoring every shift. We could turn a blind eye to that, but he hasn't elevated his game to that level yet. So this is just part of the growing pains of having some younger guys that just maybe need a little more time to develop. But I think if you just allow the process, to do what it's supposed to do, and it is a process. It takes time. That he'll be more than fine, but we cannot ignore the fact that he's got holes in his game that any legitimate coach would see, or this coaching staff sees, and you have to play these guys accordingly. This is what good teams do and good coaches do. It's like, okay, you're not doing your job. You're not pulling your weight. We're gonna have to trim back the minutes. We're not going to put you in these types of situations until we can get that trust back. I can put you on the ice and feel comfortable enough and confident enough that you're not going to at least get scored against. You know what I mean? Let alone, generating some offense for the squad here too. So this will sort itself out. It's just
it will. It really will.
Yeah,
I agree, Riggs. It really will. And I do understand some of the frustration. You do want to see this guy out there wheeling and dealing, but he's got to be able to do it and take care of the other end. And if you just let him fly by the seat of his pants, he's not going to learn anything. And he's, it's not going to be good for the team.
No. And then the fans will be bitching, a couple years from now, this guy can't play defense, and why, all this other stuff. So part of this, if he's going to be part of this long-term rebuild and be a part of this team for a long time, you might want to focus on that part of the game and get that piece solidified. And then his offense will blossom from there, because he's a reliable player. He gets more minutes. Coach trusts him. He's got a vibe. He's got some swagger. That's what we're trying to cultivate. It doesn't happen overnight, unless you're McDavid, or you just you already have that swagger because you're physical. You're a physical specimen. You're just that much quicker and faster and more powerful than everyone. But he's not there. You just got to learn the game. So
yeah, he does it, and I saw a couple people say, "Well, Bedard had a tough second year." I don't mean this disrespectful. He's not Bedard.
Yeah,
he's not. He's not, and maybe he gets to that level, which is what everyone hopes, right? And I'm definitely not trashing Matvei, because he obviously has a skill set that can be very important. But I just wish people would understand that they're trying to help this kid. They're not trying to hurt him, because he could go to any other team and then he's going to hear the exact same thing, because you can't put him out there if he's a liability. And he is right now, but maybe he's getting better because, like I thought he looked good the other night. I forget what game it was, but I just thought he was on the puck. He looked hungry, and that's what you want from him. But he's probably not going to start a shift in the defensive zone. That's just the way it goes, unless there's an icing or something. But definitely not shitting on Matvei. I think he's a great talent, but at the same time, people have to understand what they're trying to do here.
Mm-hmm. All right, Nas, we're ready to rock. Episode 224 with our good friend, Nick Grossmann.
Two ends.
Two ends presented to you by our good friends at Camden Apothecary. Driving hours outside of the city for your cannabis makes no sense when Camden Apothecary is just 5 minutes from Center City. It's right over the Ben Franklin Bridge. It's easy to get to, no crazy wait times, and they've got everything you'd expect from a solid dispensary. Top shelf product from the brands people actually want. You can walk in or order ahead online if you already know what you're after. They keep the process simple, the shelves stocked, and the vibes chill. Locally owned, no corporate weirdness, just a real shop run by people who care about product and the community. They're open 7 days a week, right off 676 at 1205 Haddon Avenue in Camden with a huge parking lot. CamdenApothecary.com to check the menu or place an order. Again, that's Camden Apothecary. Real close, real solid. Welcome back. I'm Riley Cote.
And I'm Derek Settlemyre. This week, we got one of my favorite guys, as I always say, my man. My man. Who he used to say that to me. This gentleman, this is his second time on the show, Riggs. Drafted in the second round, 56 overall by the Stars back in the day. Spent 6 years in Dallas, then joined the Philadelphia Flyers in a trade in 2011, 2012 season, and spent the next 4 seasons with us. Just an unbelievable human, great player. Was a conditioning coach in Sweden, and I'm going to let him pronounce the name because I will absolutely murder it, Riggs. I can't. I'm not even going to try. Conditioning coach from 2021 to basically 23, 24, I believe, and also became assistant coach that year. And now is just assistant coach. Has been the assistant coach the last 2 years with Team Sweden at the World Juniors, and this year walked away with a gold medal. And I can't tell you how cool it was to see such a good man that excited and win the gold for his country, man. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Nick Grossmann with 2 ends. What's up, Grossy?
2 ends, that a boy, Nast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey guys, great to be on. Good to see you guys again. It's been a while, and it's been exciting season so far. Just as you talked about last time we talked, I was doing strength and conditioning stuff, kind of right after I retired from playing in 19, so hopped on that, and then got a chance to jump on behind the bench and start coaching, and I just couldn't say no to it. So been doing that for about just a little over 3.5 years, and got the opportunity, like you said, with Team Sweden for the under-20 team last year to hop on, and then this was the second year with that team, and ended up walking away with a gold. So it's been an awesome season so far. Hectic with a lot of work, but that comes with it. So it was really cool experience.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's one of my favorite things to watch during the hockey season. The World Championships, and it's everybody. Grossy, even when you played during that timeline, we were usually on the road. I mean, maybe you weren't with Dallas, but that is always on the TV in the locker room, eh? Like everyone's dialed in because most of you guys played in it for the most part. Most of the guys in the NHL, and it's just one of my favorite tournaments to watch. It just doesn't get old to me. It had to be just so exciting.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, it's all over the place. It's become such a big thing, I think, all over the hockey world. It's even back home in Sweden. We're a small country, but there's kids between all ages, 8 till teenagers till grandparents are watching it, and it's buzzing in town, in small towns, and it's almost bigger than the championships for men, because it's so, I think it's so exciting, the hockey. There's crazy games always with everything from goal scoring to refereeing. Like, it's just stuff happening all the time, and I think it's become something really huge and a big tournament in the world, and it's definitely exciting to be a part of it.
Wow.
Yeah, no doubt. Grossy, I wanted to ask you, was that kind of part of the plan, transitioning from strength and conditioning and getting into, like say on the bench coaching, or is that just kind of like something that just fell on your lap and you took advantage of the opportunity?
Yeah, Riles, I think it was always, I think even when I played, I was kind of intrigued of trying it, especially in the end of my career. I thought I was trying to pick up things along the way, put in my backpack to kind of bring along, and that part seemed cool, just some type of leader role. And then once I retired and got the spot in strength and conditioning, I thought that was really cool. And then I always had this kind of urge of coaching. And then when and where I didn't want to plan or anything, I just wanted to try it. And then I got the opportunity with my team, so I just couldn't say no to it, because you never know when the next one's going to come, so to say.
Yeah, right.
And that's kind of the way I've been approaching it the whole time. So I got the opportunity, jumped on it, and then things just kind of kept rolling with the national team on top of that. So that's what I'm doing now, coaching full time as an assistant here in Sweden, and doing that World Junior gig for the fall and the actual tournament. So it's been really cool. And like I said, I had it in the back of my head, but when and where I didn't know. So it was a great opportunity for me to jump on.
Nice. And then obviously two different animals, strength and conditioning versus being an assistant coach on that coaching side of things. Do you appreciate the coaching? Are you glad that you've made that transition?
Yeah. I mean, I love the strength and conditioning gig too, and it's still I think a big part of who I am, who I kind of was as a player. It was always close to me, that part of the game, and I really enjoy that time too, because I learned a bunch, even stuff that I maybe didn't think I was going to need, but it's really helped me develop as I think, just a person and a coach. Just the knowledge of the human body and developing and strength and conditioning, all that what comes with it. So it was a really good experience, and you get to be close with the boys and work with them for a long time, and then still not kind of making the big decisions, but you kind of that bond between the players and the coaches, and trying to help the guys obviously to become better. So it was really fun, and I'm still super interested in it. I try to keep myself in good shape, and still read a bunch, and try to stay on top of things with that, because I think it's an important part of the game, next to my real job as an assistant coach. So
Right.
it's been good.
Yeah. Were you, Grossy, when you were in there? First of all, I'd have been intimidated as hell, because Grossy's a large human. But no, were you on the board? You pumped that? Is that how you went about it, or you just kind of like laid back? But hey, you got to get this done. I could see you working out with the boys, and just because you sweat like he's an animal. Like you used to sweat so much. But like were you on them, like pumping them up, or just kind of like laid back?
In the gym, you mean?
Yeah, in the gym.
Yeah, no, I think I think I had both sides of it. I'm
Yeah,
not maybe the loudest guy, but I feel like when I talk, the boys listen. So
yeah,
I try to obviously always have good energy, because I think that's the main part of just leadership in general. Come
right,
in with good energy and get the boys going. And then, some days you need a little milder tone with them, depending on the day or how many games you lost or whatever. And then some days you need to get in there and kick him in the ass a little bit to get him going and stuff like that. So, but I think it was really fun and really, really cool gig. And it's not what I'm doing now. It's not that big of a difference, to be honest with you. As an
right.
assistant coach, you still gotta help develop, communicate well, all that kind of stuff, and always got to bring that juice and energy. So guys feel motivated in a way. So it's been real fun, both jobs.
Yeah, it is. You're right. It's so important. Riles coach for a while. Obviously, you knew that. Grossy, you were here when he was coaching with
Yeah.
the Phantoms. When you guys were going into the tournament, this past tournament, where was your confidence level at? Like, were you guys pretty confident in your team, and you knew you had a shot?
Yeah, you know what? I think it's different year to year, depending on kind of the group you have, because it changes a lot, I think, for every nation. Same with us. I think last year going in, we had a more experienced group, that I played bigger games and had more experience just in the higher league, I think. Minutes wise as well. Coming in this year, we didn't have much experience, especially not on the back end. But going in, we knew we're gonna be up there and kind of wrestle with the big boys. But I think the expectations on our tournament made it easier for the boys to handle the pressure because we're going in as underdogs. We knew Canada was going to give a push after having two years with the disappointments.
Right.
We knew the US was top favorites after winning it twice. We knew Finland is always going to give us hell.
Yes.
Czech Republic, always good team. So, we knew we were in those top five, and then just kind of going from there. But I think we had some exhibition games that gave us some confidence. Two against Canada, one against Switzerland, and then going into that tournament, it didn't start out great, and I think that was good for us. It was kind of good time for the team to get together and work some kinks out that need to get worked out. And then I think once that US game came, when we won 6-3,
Whoa,
I think that
Just, let's take it easy, Grossy. You didn't have to throw the score out. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
no, but I think for the group,
Yeah.
going in, it's these games are the probably the biggest games for these boys. They haven't played bigger games with that type of tension, fans, intensity, everything.
Yeah.
And I think that game just kind of, you can tell in the boys' eyes after they kind of looked at each other. You know what, we can do this. And
Yeah.
I think that's when the hope kind of started to become real for them. So going in after that game, I felt like the group kind of grew stronger after every game. So
Yeah.
Nice. Who would you say the toughest opponent was in the tournament? I mean, obviously the fans might have a perspective, but internally, what would you guys say?
I mean, in the group play, the round robins, there we had the Americans. Obviously, that was the big favorites, and we knew that was going to be a tough one. And then, to be honest with you, going in after playing the round robin, and then you starting with we had Latvia in the quarterfinals, and that's been a part of the game for so long. Going into those games, your favorites, you're supposed to win with 8-0.
Yeah.
That's just
Yeah.
what everyone thinks, and they go
Yeah.
out there and they play their hearts out.
Yeah.
They're stocking it up defensively. They got everyone on the inside. They're a great transition team. They got great skill up front, great special teams, and you're just supposed to win. And
Yeah.
you're going in there, and that's the tough part for these young kids. They're 18, 19 years old. Pressure and expectations on them, and I think boys really handled that game well. But it's a tough game. Once that was done with, I think Finland, like I said, we looked back at the statistics. I think we played the last 4 or 5 years, every game gone to overtime or shootout against them. So we just knew that's going to be a fist fight. So, but after that game, and that was the semifinals, obviously. I mean, it could have gone either way. The margins are really small in those games. Penalty shots, win or lose, one goes in, one does not. But I think we played really well up until that game, and we got better and better throughout the tournament. And then once we ended up winning that game in a shootout, I just felt like the whole group just kind of said, all right, let's go get this one. And then I feel like we had our best game in the finals, actually, against a really, really strong, good Czech team. So impressive how the boys handled the whole situation.
Yeah. It was so fun to watch it. And you bring up the point about Czechia. You're up 3-0 with 3 minutes to go. How tight did you get when they score 2 there? The hoops get a little tight when that happens, and hey, Grossy playing 500, almost 600 games in the NHL, 592. It happens to everyone at every league. Kids, a team like the game looks like it's over. The Flyers are going in one right now. They're just snowballing in a bad way. They had a game last night pretty much locked up, and you get nervous. But did you guys call a timeout? Like, do you try to calm the kids down? Like, how do you handle that as a coach?
Yeah, we played I think we played our best game that final game for about 54 minutes or whatever it was. And then we knew that they were going to make a push because they were a hell of a team. They had
Yeah.
great firepower, they were big, strong, physical. And we just knew, like, stick to the game plan, and 3-0 going in that later game, it feels safe. But like I said, these games, World Juniors, everything can happen, and it does happen. And they
Yeah.
end up scoring that goal. They get some momentum going, and then yeah, it was nervous for sure. But even then, I feel like the boys kind of they stuck with it. They battled and did the right things, and we had some long shifts in their own end, and guys barely got off the ice, but. They scored a second goal, and obviously it's not much time left, and we kind of felt like, all right, uh, we can do this, and then ended up scoring when they pulled a goalie, scoring
Yeah.
an empty netter to make it
Yeah.
4-2, and
Right.
and of course it's a little bit nervous and stuff, but I feel like experience help, personally at least, and I assume the other coaches say the same. But like I said, for the players, this is probably the biggest game they ever played.
Yeah.
So you probably have to be nervous, but like I said before, I think the boys handled everything from expectations to pressure to these nervous parts of the big games really well, and really like professionals, and got the job done. So that was impressive. And to talk about the final game was funny. I had some friends of mine, you know, talk to them when I got home, and when we scored that fourth goal, the whole bench just kind of erupted, and I didn't even think of it, but I just kind of stood like this, motionless, just kind of like, because I knew it was like 35 seconds left, and I was like, "Fuck, anything can happen,"
Yeah.
It's,
You never know.
no, I just kind of thought, next move, what's my next move? It was just
Yeah.
chaos on the bench, and they're like, "Man, weren't you happy?" I was like, "Well, it was 30 seconds left of the game, we haven't won yet." But obviously, we knew we had a shot at it. So the boys, the
Yeah.
boys brought that home with the 30 seconds left, and the
That's
goal was
awesome.
ours. So it was a great feeling, great feeling, and great job.
Yeah.
I bet. I bet.
Did you are you a huge advocate as a coach pushing for guys to wear shot blockers, Grossy?
No, I'm not. But now, nowadays, all
Oh.
these, the technology is going forward, right? You see all these molded straight to the skate
Yeah.
stuff, and I don't see them old plastic ones anymore for good reasons,
The big
probably.
clunkers.
So, for a little quick backstory for people that don't understand why I asked that, we told this before, but quickly, we're playing in Pittsburgh. Grossy had taken a absolute bomb the night before. I think it was a back-to-back game, and I set him out on his stall purposely, and I watch him walk in. I'm kind of hiding, and he takes him right under the stall. I'm like, "Why don't you try him?" No, I'm good. I'm good. All right. First shift, we take a penalty, obviously. Penalty kill. Grossy's out there just eats pucks for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Takes one in the foot. Like, I'm in a bomb. I don't remember who shot it. If it was Letang, I can't remember who shot it, but it hits him right square in his foot. Comes back to the bench, and I'm standing there, and I'm like, I feel so bad for him. He sweat's pouring off his head. We're a minute into the game, and he just looks back and goes, "Don't say a fucking word." Because I had asked him like 3 times to wear them, and I said, "Okay, buddy, I'm not. Don't worry, I'm not. I'm not gonna say anything." But that's why I said that. But the one of the things I did want to ask you, Grossy, is can you give us a little bit of insight on Jack Berglund, your captain for the team, and obviously a Flyers drafted by the Flyers a couple years ago? Can you give us any insight on him?
Yeah, I mean, I got to know Jack over the last couple of years here. He was part of the team last year, my first year. So he came with us for the pre-tournament before the Worlds. We were in Finland and played, and got to know him pretty good. And I just think he's been having a great developing, in his, I think, as a player, and just as a person. I think. Dating it back to last year when I saw him for the first time, couple tournaments, I can tell some parts of his game wasn't really where it should be, or what he needed to work on. And even I think his personality, he was always or he is always, I think, kind of outspoken and a really open guy, but just the leadership part, I think, wasn't where it should be there in the beginning. But to see the progress he's made from when I met him first to where he kind of was now, and his playing from when I've been following him in Sweden too, and how he developed his just overall game. I think his speed, even though it's deceptive, he might not look as fast, but those long legs and strong legs get him going pretty good. And the strength on the puck has been, I think, improving a lot. Playmaking abilities, and I was impressed by his leadership. To be honest with you, he was the captain of our team, and we feel like that was. A good decision for the group, and just how we kind of embraced that role, with kind of everything from including everyone to taking charge to want to be, the hero. And that says a lot about him as a person and a player. But I think just for him to really want to be on the ice and go out to score that goal where he had to score in the shootout against Finland, to keep her going, I think that's a kind of testament to the character of the guy. So I think it's gonna come a long way. Still has stuff that he needs to work on, obviously, to become a real pro, but he's come a long way since first time I met him, and that's really fun to see.
That's awesome. Sorry for the quick break, but all of you sports fans are going to love this. Riggs, I'm not sure if I told you or not, but GT Wholesale just moved to Haddonfield, New Jersey. They've been around since the 90s, which we know as the East Coast distributor for Rydell Sports, bringing you the official NFL helmets and college football helmets.
But that's not all, is it, Nast?
No, it is not, buddy. They actually have tons of things on their website. They have tons of NHL hockey pucks, a whole lot more for sports fans everywhere. A lot of our buddies are going on there, checking it out. It's unbelievable. Check out gt-wholesale.com, and do not forget to use coupon code NASTY for 15% off of your order. Again, it's gt-wholesale.com. Unbelievable website, so easy to use, and the stuff's amazing.
Anton Frondell. I mean, can you talk to him a little bit? Seems like obviously a high-end prospect that eventually find his way.
Yeah, Anton, same thing there. I haven't, first time I met him and really got to know him was just a few months ago in the pre-tournament we had down in Europe, and great guy. Not what I expected, just from kind of looking at him and hearing the interviews, but super humble guy, and obviously a hell of a player. And it's been fun to get to know him. Kind of goofy in his way, but really serious when it comes down to it. And one thing I really appreciated with him, with how good he already is and what he can do on the ice with his goal scoring abilities and his kind of offensive game, that stuck out to me was that we had a penalty kill meeting, and he wasn't part of it, but he just kind of sat in on it anyway. And I was curious, and then he comes up and says, "Yeah, I want to learn because if I get good at it, that gives him more ice time." So just that kind of curiosity to want to learn and want to become better at things that might not even be a part of his game, because it's more like the offensive side of it. But that was cool to see how he played really that good and already that good. Just want to be better at other things to, earn more ice time or kind of complete his game. So that's just a detail of, I think, to just a testament again to kind of his character and personality. So that was cool to see firsthand.
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of high end guys too that are accepting of their their offensive roles. A lot of times would just, I don't know, sit on the perimeter and not really think that that's for me because I don't kill penalties. But you do got to appreciate guys that are willing to step in there and learn. And whether he expects to eventually get out there and make that part of his game is another story. But the fact that he's absorbing and learning is a testament for him as a student of the game. So. I mean, I'd like to think that so some other offensive guys that maybe aren't killing penalties may have that same type of mindset. And whether you kill penalties or not, it's got to help on the defensive side of the game, even 5-on-5, just those reinforcements of where to be and just like little reminders. But I think it's easy to just play. It's, you know, be complacent in your role and maybe not participate in some of these extra meetings.
Yeah, I agree.
That's for sure it is. Like TK kills penalties. Travis Konechny is he's one of their most offensive players, but he kills penalties for the Flyers, and that's a good example of that. But I was going to ask you also, Grossy, from a coaching perspective, going into a short tournament like that, what's the biggest challenge? Is it your systems? Is it the ice time? Like figuring out the players? Because I know you get a little time with them, but there's so many different things that goes into that. You know, like what's your biggest challenge you see in those short tournaments like that?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think you obviously get to know a few of the guys or most of the guys in the tournaments before the big tournament. So you get to know them a little bit, but I think it's important to really get to know them, so you kind of know what to push or what buttons to push, and how to kind of guide them the best way. And then I think it's different for every teams and coaching staffs, but we kind of had the going in mentality of they have what they have skill wise. We're not going to be able to change much of that, like small details here and there maybe, but that's who we brought in, and that's what we have team wise. So we want to focus on how can we get these guys to buy into our structure defensively. Because if we can do that, we know we have some firepower up front. We have guys that can score goals. We have quick guys. We have guys that can skate. But if we just can get on the same page with the defensive system to start with and get everyone to buy in. And then I think the second part is, like I said earlier, kind of get guys to both believe, but just try to relax and play the game.
Right.
I think when those things come together, and we had, like I said, we had some bumps on the road, and especially early in the tournament and those exhibition games where guys were maybe not on the same boat as everyone else on the team, and they want to do their own thing, and they didn't really buy in because they maybe thought about themselves too much, and that's okay. I think that's normal, because maybe you want it too much when you want to show the whole world what you can do, and we understand that. But we feel like after a few games, we had some good meetings, both with the guys and with the team, and we try to explain to them what we think is important, and the message we try to deliver to them. And we kind of felt like that the group answered really good and bought into that. And I feel like after that, they just kind of grew and grew and grew. And as the tournament went on, we just got better and better. And that's a testament again to the group of players, that they were kind of humble enough to do that, and maybe push away a point or two in their own stats to make the team better. And we felt like that was some key factors for us to really nail early to have a chance to win.
Yeah.
You mentioned like relax and just play. Like, I know it's easier said than done. You got a lot of guys. I mean, all those guys are playing significant roles in their respective teams. But like, how do you coach that? How do you bring that level of like relaxation into the locker room or into the mindset to do that, to just pause and maybe not do too much, and grip the stick a little too tight and just like soften into it? Because all you said, like all these guys have an insane amount of abilities. It's not a shortage of that. It's just to what you mentioned there. Like, how do you communicate that? Just like relax and just play your game, and subscribe to this message, this team system.
Yeah, like I said, we felt like the guys picked up the defensive structure pretty quick, and it's pretty normal stuff. Like a lot of guys play back home. It's just small tweaks here and there, but once everyone's on board with that, it was more about, I think, of doing things on the ice, not instead of maybe thinking too much or where should I be or should I do this, just go out and do it. Mistakes going to happen, and we'll clean up after it. That's why we're 6 guys on the ice. You have teammates that can back you up, and we'd rather have you go with, kind of going with what you learn and what you know and why you're here. You played hockey your whole life. You have great opportunity with the tournament just for your individual career, but as a team, to win something. And we just try to have a different, not tactics, but methods, I guess, just from coaches, the whole staff, work with the guys and just try to, take one game at a time and don't put too much pressure on them. And just like I said earlier, just kind of have that underdog mentality in a way, because we were, and just use that to our advantage. And then like I said, rather than thinking too much if I'm doing the right or the wrong thing, just go out and do it. We'll see what happens. And if you do that with your heart in the right place and your legs going, you're probably going to do good things. So that was kind of the message we tried to send to them. And the same thing, like even if you make a mistake, that's not the end of the world. It's just a hockey game, but
Right.
it's hard to get that when you're playing a final in the World Juniors. But that was
Yeah.
kind of the
Yeah.
message,
Yeah.
the message to the boys. But like I said, I was impressed by the guys because they were a great tight knit group. There was a lot of goofballs on the team that was good for the team, that kind of
Yeah.
lightened up the mood in the locker room, and they were joking with each other, and they kind of became a good family all together. And I think that's huge, and that's how you kind of have each other's back in tournaments and games like this when it really gets called upon. So
Yeah.
That's good insight. Because I was gonna say, like with that much talent, and you said it, it's almost like you're encouraging these guys to just play their game and be instinctive. It's like getting out of the head and like worrying about what you should have done or could have done. And if the mistake happens, it's just living to fight another day. You said you got 6 guys on the out there to recover from it, because I think for young hockey players, I think this idea of making mistakes is like, especially young hockey players, they don't understand it yet. Like, there's so much pressure around these mistakes, but the mistakes are going to happen one way or another. But I almost like this, rather see them being made by being instinctive and just being like maybe over aggressive and then making the mistake, versus being passive and like, getting in your head and, sitting there like a sitting duck, and then the play's going the other way. But I like what you said there, because I know you're not the first person to say that, obviously, but like, it is encouraging for players to hear that from the coach, where it's like, I don't know, it's just like a extra layer of safety. You're almost like you're encouraging them to go just play their game, and the mistakes are going to happen. I think when you communicate it that way, I think it has an impact on the way players receive it, because you see guys become their own worst enemies, right? So they gripping the stick and getting in their own head.
Yeah, and it's like you said, Riles, I think it's easier said than done, but if you can kind of push for that message to reach them, and I know myself when I played like that my first few years. I was terrified of making mistakes. That was a really good lesson I learned. Like, you can't play this game going out there not trying to make mistakes. You got to go out there and try to make plays and move your legs. Not mistakes gonna happen. I never seen a game for 60, 65 minutes without a mistake. It's going to be in all kinds of games, and it's just, I'd rather have you do them when you're going full speed, or play your heart out, than you're standing still and thinking, because then we got an issue. So that was just kind of the message we're trying to give to them. And like I said, they embraced it in a great way with their fun personalities and just kind of their attitude. So but it's it's easier said than done, for sure.
Yeah, that's good insight.
Yeah, for sure. Grossy, with your busy schedule, I'm not sure if you're able to, but are you able to keep up with the NHL at all?
Yeah, no, I'm watching it as much as I can. Every morning, getting into the coach's office, we usually throw on the last night highlights. So it's usually 30, 40 minutes of NHL highlights, so you keep up to date. So it's really cool to stay on top of that. And I still love watching all the games, and some old players that I still know, and coaches, and stuff like that is still around. So it's always fun to kind of keep an extra eye on those teams, but just keep you up to date too, and fun to see what's going on in the best league.
Yeah, I figured you were able to catch up a little bit. I was going to tell you, if you hadn't, Colorado's pretty good.
Yeah, they're decent, right?
Like 5 regulation losses on the year. I just say, you watch them play, and it's just like, what's going on? This isn't even fair, man. They're really good, obviously, but we I feel like we talk about them every week, but they just, I think they lost 2 in a row finally, and I don't know if like it was like going to be a meltdown in there.
They're in a real slump now. Eh?
Yeah.
Talking about gas and the coach the whole bit.
Yeah, everything.
Tear it down.
Yeah, Benzie, better watch out.
Yeah, no, they've been impressive. They've been impressive for sure. I think that the dog that they're calling has been running that train for a while, and it seems to work. So
yeah,
it's impressive.
For sure it is. The Flyers hired, I'm sure you know, like Rick Tocchet last summer, and he's coming here and he's done a really good job. Now, of course, the Flyers are in a bad way right now. They're just, you've been on teams. I was going to pick your brain about that, and Riley as well, and me as an equipment manager, where things just start snowballing the wrong way, and it doesn't matter what you do. It just seems to keep going, but hopefully they can stay. Look like they're going to snap out of it. They had a big win in Vegas the other night, and they come back last night. This poor Garnet Hathaway, man, he's got one goal in the year. He's got an empty net. He's at the blue line. He takes about 3 more casual strides. I just feel bad even bringing it up, but he gets his stick lifted, goes the other way, they end up tying the game, and they lose in a shootout where they should be 2-0 on this trip. And by the way, they have to go play in Colorado tomorrow. So I don't want to say they're going to lose, but it's going to be a tough game. But when things start snowballing like that as a player, I mean, I'm sure you were in that. You might have even been in that situation here in Philadelphia. I remember there was the one year we lost 10 straight, but made the playoffs somehow. But as a player mentally, people that didn't play the game or weren't on the inside, I know they think it's just got to win. You got to be better. It's not like that. But how do you attack that mentally as a player when things just keep snowballing?
Yeah, it's obviously hard. You feel like you're in quicksand, right? The harder you work, the deeper you sink, kind of. I've been there as a player and as a coach. It's hard, and I think it's all kinds of different reasons why that happens, and I think it's also all kinds of different solutions to it. But just how I think about it is that I don't think you should worry maybe too much of what you can't do, but worry what you can do. Look around as coaches, what kind of team do we have? What kind of structure we want to play? And as players, the same thing. What are we good at? If you're a defensive-minded team with big, strong guys, or if you're a fast team, or if you're, just play to your strength. And as an individual, if you're a big old D-man like I was to get the puck out of zone, well, do that, stick to that, and leave the other stuff to the other guys. And then once, instead of, you're not just getting around doing everyone else's jobs, or, you're not trusting each other and stuff like that. So I just feel like come back to, the core of your group. What are you good at as a team and as individuals, and stick to that. Sometimes less is more. Try to strip away a few things of layers, and just be really good at a few things, and start from there. At least that's how I look at it. And like I said, it's all kinds of solutions to when you're in a slump. Sometimes you got to do something really different, or something really outside of the box. But I just feel like if you can do something really well inside of that box, that's probably going to get you started somewhere. So it's always hard, but that's how I look at it, at least.
Yeah. And if you watch like last night's game, it's a classic example of just finding ways to lose games. Like they score first shift of the game, they're buzzing, they're out chancing, out shooting Utah Mammoth. Just the management of the puck, it almost looks like they just lost confidence with some of these plays, like just bad bonehead plays. Then the whole structure breaks down, and then like to Nassi's point there, like you got the game completely locked down. All you got to do is put the thing in the empty net, and then you find a way to not. It's just like when it rains, it pours type of stuff. And then after that, there's like 2 or 3 bobbled pucks, and it just like everything just starts to break down. But it's just classic example of being in your own head. It's just like there's no other way to really describe it. Last night's game specifically is you had the damn thing fully in control, and then it just like let it slip away in real time.
And that's what happened both ways, right? When you're in a rut a little bit, you find ways to lose, and
that's right.
The opposite, when you're rolling, you find ways to win. You get those lucky bounces, and they're games that you maybe shouldn't win, but you win because you find ways. So, and like I said, there are all kinds of ways out of those, but usually you gotta earn them, and it takes a little piss and vinegar, so to say, and sometimes it's just kind of the classics. Take one shift at a time, try to build that momentum, and play the right way. It's a lot of easy words to say, but it's really hard to do.
That's right. Grossy, I was looking back. I was just looking back at your time here, and man, I call it the good old days. When you came here 2011, 12, we had that big win over. I mean, it was only first round, but we beat Pittsburgh, which is huge in Philadelphia. It's like winning the cup, beating them in a playoff series. But I was telling Riles, I was like, man, it's like the good old days, even when Riles was there. But man, it was so much fun. And we had such a good group of guys then when you joined us. We had Yogs. It was the first year we had Yogs and the only year. But Hartnell had a career year, and I was talking to him yesterday, and he said, well, if we hadn't got Grossy, I would have never had that career year. He ended up playing how many games did you play that year? 22 with us. But it was just so much fun. And I also remember that we actually had Bobrovsky then when you got here. He was
that's right.
He was one of our goalies. Oh,
Whoops. Bob.
Yeah. Bob's still kicking. He chucked the Nucks the other night. I don't know if you saw it, Grossy.
Yeah.
Was a lot of air getting hit, but hey, he went down there. It was awesome to see. I enjoyed it. And I was also looking, Grossy. You got to play with Ray Emery as well, man. I forgot. You were here with Razor, the late great Razor. He actually lost that year. That was when Chief took over. We lost. That might have been the year. Did we lose 10 in a row that year and make the playoffs? I feel like that might have been the year.
It might have been the year, yeah. We lost out to the Rangers.
Yeah, in 7, and they went on to the finals. I mean, that could have gone either way. And Steve Mason was hurt. I think he missed the first 3 games of that series. But anyway, it was so much fun. I was just looking back at that. Also, I was going to ask you, did you see Danny B at the World Juniors rolling around there?
No, I didn't. It's usually on the tournaments before, like especially that summer showcase that's in late July, beginning of August. This year it was in Minneapolis where we played, but it's been usually in Plymouth. And even those November tournaments, it's a lot easier to get around because it's not as busy. So at those tournaments, I've seen a bunch of old players, coaches that I both played with and had coached. So it's been fun, but World Juniors is just hectic. You're working 24/7, and it's games and practice, and it's just tough to even get around. I had a couple times I was watching some live games at the rink, and didn't really see anyone there, but unfortunately. But usually it's really fun to run into all the players or coaches that you've been around earlier in your career.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice.
What are your as far as coaching, Grossy? Like, what are your goals? Are you looking to maybe become a head coach, maybe to get to the NHL, or is that not really in your thoughts right now?
No, it's similar. Like I answered that earlier question, going from strength and conditioning and into this. It's me as a family, me and my wife and our 2 daughters. We just keep the doors open, especially when she's from the States. It would make the transition a little bit easier, and my experience from over there for a lot of years, make it easier too. So if the opportunity is right and the timing is good, of course, we would consider it. And of course, it would be a really cool experience to try. And then when and where, or if it ever happen, we'll see. But I'll just keep my doors open for now and leave it at that, so to say. So as of now, I'm really happy where I am, and I'm gaining experience every day, both with my home club and with the national team. So that's great, and it keeps me busy for sure with that and the family on the side. So, but like I said, it's really fun and I enjoy it, especially being in the game this close, and close after I retired as a player. I feel like it's really fun because you can really connect to a lot of the guys. So I really enjoy that, and I'll keep going until someone kicks me out.
I hear you.
It's the way it goes, right?
Yeah.
Put on the gas.
That's so awesome. I'm getting on the horn today. If you're looking to get over here, I'm starting to call some GMs today.
All right, buddy.
I want the gross daddy over here.
Yeah.
So I can see you more. Are you guys still going upstate New York in the
we're going in the summers.
Nice.
Wife and the kids try to go as much as possible. I usually make it over once or twice, and especially in the summer to hang out with family and friends. So it's really good time, and we try to stop by a few places and try to meet some more friends through hockey too. So it's a good setup for sure.
That's awesome. I was going to say too, Riles, one of the best air drummers in the league.
Yeah.
Was this guy? Oh, you've never seen a video of him and Jake?
Oh, him and Jake.
Yeah,
Yeah,
throw
I
some-
have.
throw some-
I've
Throw some
definitely seen
Bruce
that.
on, and we'll get.
Oh yeah,
We'll show you.
That's right. That's right. Oh, do you ever catch any of Jake's Twitter?
No, and I got to ask you for Jake's info because I've been
Okay.
trying to get a hold of that guy, and he's harder to get a hold of than the
Oh,
president. So
He is unbelievable.
Yeah,
I know.
right.
I know. I'll send it to you as soon as we're done here, buddy.
all
I
right,
have his
sounds
number
good.
over there.
Sounds good.
All right, brother. Well, we can't thank you enough, Grossy, and congratulations. Couldn't happen to a better guy, and I got a feel we'll be seeing you over here soon, sooner than later.
Yeah, thanks,
as
guys.
a coach.
Really good catching up with you. And just the last thing before I hop off here, you caught me on my birthday today, so
Yeah,
I'm expecting a package with a couple shot blockers in it. All right.
There you go. Some sweatshirts and
Happy
shot
birthday.
blockers. That's right. Happy birthday, buddy. I have it written down right here.
Yeah,
Happy
yeah.
birthday, buddy. Fuck, we're the same age. Like I said before we got started.
Yeah, we don't
Is it-
age like Peter Pan. Love
That's
it.
right. Is everyone downstairs waiting on you right now?
No, we're just
birthday dinner?
gonna go grab something to eat here and watch
right.
a couple hockey games from the other league. So
All right, brother. Well, man, thanks again. Grossy, you're the man. Miss you, buddy. Hopefully you get to catch up soon in person.
sounds good, guys. I'll reach out when I'm in town. We'll catch
Okay,
up.
please do.
All right, thanks for having me,
All right,
fellas.
brother.